Ooh.
She's comfy, bro.
She is, dude. Lean back today.
Welcome in to a Tuesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, live here from the Noodle. Jay Stewie is here. Lizzie is here. It is a jam-packed Tuesday morning. We have got a ton to get to. Will Wade is going to be here at 7:30. Head coach of the LSU basketball team. Kermit Davis, head basketball coach of the Ole Miss Rebels, is going to be here at 8 a.m. We will have a preview from both sides within 30 minutes here on the Jordy Culotta Show, live here on this Tuesday morning at 8:15. We will switch the conversation to the NFL as Ben Baby from Cincinnati will be here. He is covering the Bengals for ESPN.com. The Bengals have stamped their ticket to the Super Bowl for the first time in 34 years under the direction of Joey Burrow. We will talk to Baby about how wild life is right now inside of Cincinnati as the Bengals get ready for a road trip to Los Angeles to take on the Rams in Super Bowl 56. And we will talk to Will Clapp, New Orleans Saint offensive lineman, played for Sean Payton. We'll talk to him about the turnaround, the turnover, and what he expects now with who's going to be next as the New Orleans Saints are in transition here from Sean Payton, Drew Brees, really kind of a shifting of the guard with the New Orleans Saints. So a ton to get to here on this Tuesday morning. We appreciate you starting your Tuesday morning with us. Make sure you hit that like button, share button, comment button. We appreciate all of that as we are here with you here on this Tuesday. As we said, we got a jam-packed show, and daily we are brought to you by Metropolitan Health Group. Our phone lines today are going to be jam-packed. Compliments of Metropolitan Health Group, real doctors, real solutions. Jason Ramazan and our guy Charlie Harvey, of course, bringing you our phone line from Metropolitan Health Group. True Blue Water, trubluewater.com. If you want to hop on the delivery route today, you can. trubluewater.com. Our coffee is provided by Majestic Coffee, DeliciousSips.com, and Papa Earl's, the official spice of the Jordy Culotta Show. 30% less sodium than the competition. You can pick them up anywhere that you shop locally. Rouse's, High Neighbor, Calandro's, all those spots. So much to get to here on this Tuesday morning as we get set. National Signing Day coming up in a couple of days, so we will touch a little bit on what could be next for LSU, where they stand with Jacoby Matthews, where they stand with Harold Perkins, where they stand with Trevante Citizen and others. So it is a really busy time on the sports calendar right now. Hopefully you have subscribed to Mic'd Up. Yesterday, Mic'd Up was here on there every Monday and Wednesday, 11 and 1 o'clock. And today, what's the plan, Lizzie? You going live this afternoon, or are you going to record? Okay.
I think we are going to go live with maybe the next dynamic duo at LSU. A little Walker Howard, a little Jack Besh live in studio. We're going to see how the boys are feeling. Get Mikey to go on Tuesday. He's got a little trip down south planned, so I don't want to hold the guy up. I don't want to jam him up. So he's going to Mexico for, I think it's just a vacation that he has a wedding to go to. So we're trying to get the people some content. So we're going to go live today at 3 with Jack Besh and Walker Howard, Mikey Mocktuck, Mic'd Up. So you'll get a little taste of the show with, STM love all around.
Legends of Lafayette,
Legends
for sure.
of Lafayette.
Man, you talk about Lafayette, the Acadiana area, the athletes that have come out of there. They don't make them any better than
those three.
than those three.
They're going to talk STM so much.
Absolutely.
Coming out the tunnel, it's the best in best in high school football. I've seen that in the car, dude.
We get it. Make sure to hit that like button, that share button, that comment button as we are here. We will talk LSU basketball. We will talk Ole Miss as they get set for a tip-off tonight, 8 o'clock. Lizzie, be going watch party?
Oh, got to.
Yeah.
If I got my guy Jay Stu with me, we're good. Me,
absolutely.
Noah, Jay Stu, we can get it done.
I'll be here. I'll be passing by. Little Jay closing out the school ball season tonight at 5:45.
So no sleeves mandatory today.
No sleeves mandatory today for the Mercy Squad. But we will be here after and following for a late night tip off between Ole Miss and LSU.
8 p.m.
8 p.m. SEC Network.
Let's go.
Dave Neal.
Love
Dave Neal.
Oh, this is why you set the over under so low, because this wasn't the Mercy. He gets buckets.
Sure.
Absolutely. And for the franchise, you set it at a meager 16.5, and he comes out with 21.
Yeah.
So tonight we might be
usually
looking 23.
Not the high scorer on that squad.
Yeah, looking like might be 23, 25 tonight.
He will have to be. Will need every point tonight. He's going up against the beast from the East. Tyler Foreman is coming over from St. George tonight.
Y'all just seem to be do-si-doing, dude.
Yeah.
Round and round you'll go.
Yeah.
What's the overall right now? 1-1?
No, we have not played them yet. We have played Jilly from St. Aloysius.
Aloysius. Same side, though. 2-0. There you go.
But nobody cares about that. Everybody cares about Ole Miss and LSU. We will preview that with Will Wade. Wade took to the press conference yesterday before practice, so he didn't have an update on the status of his guys. We did see Pinson. We did see Days the last time out. We expect them to go again tonight. We'll ask him about coaching against the chemistry and bringing those guys back, how he's juggling the minutes, how he is kind of getting those guys back into action. So it will be interesting to see how that conversation is kind of moving for Wade. And then from Kermit Davis's side, they're coming off a nice win versus Kansas State in the SEC Big 12 Challenge. They had the freshman of the week in the conference that we will ask Coach Davis about some of his guys on his roster as they come in tonight. And then, a little bit of a shot from the other side as we ask Coach Davis, without giving away his game plan, on, what's the challenge of getting prepared for LSU as, they are long. They're getting some of these guys back and how from the other side, from the opponent side, that you get ready for LSU. So it is going to be interesting to hear from Coach Davis coming up from Ole Miss. Ole Miss struggling a little bit this season as they are down and out right now. 11-10 overall and 2-6 in conference play. So LSU 13.5-point favorites. I'd seen it 13.5 to 14-point favorites tonight. This is the part of the schedule that we've talked about for a couple of weeks now that you really needed to get to. And finally, they are here, and they were able to, eke one out. The last SEC game at home, where they were getting right versus Texas A&M. They fall on the road in the Big 12 Challenge versus TCU, and now they get home tonight versus Ole Miss in a game that they are heavily favorited over and should really kind of find their footing again as far as working Pinson days.
All available?
Back into action. I would imagine. We will talk to Wade in 20 minutes, but, I can't imagine that they would play on Saturday and not be available tonight. But if they had a setback, we'll find out. We'll ask him about it coming up here in a couple of minutes.
Just thinking, Pinson in the knee brace. I don't know if he wants to get out there in that thing again, dude. He couldn't sneak past it. He couldn't sneak back home if he needed to with that thing on.
Yeah.
He was squeaking all over the court.
He was like the Tin Man, bro.
He was. So
very much robotic.
If we could get just a smaller version of that, because I think he played well when he was in. It's just a matter of kind of, getting him back to 100%. Everybody was almost too much too fast for the old Tigers when they brought back Days and Pinson. So interested to see what Will Wade has to say after his interview, because the defense has been highlighted, and now he kind of wants to work on the offensive end with some guru we know nothing about.
We'll see if we can't poke and prod around and get a name. I don't know if he is. I don't know if he's going to go public with that, but we'll see. We will get a preview of LSU basketball coming up here between LSU and Ole Miss. Make sure you hit that like button, that share button, that comment button. Also mark the date as we have got our next LSU basketball tailgate reserved with our friend Daniel Newman, and Papa Earl's Spice is going to be there. Papa Earl's is going to be serving up some jambalaya. Daniel Newman's going to take care of the some of the appetizers and the drinks. We will be located in the same spot we were last time. If you're not familiar, we were in lot 105, right there behind the natatorium and the field house where we set up, right under the overhang. And as we said, Papa Earl's will be serving up jambalaya. Daniel Newman will be serving some drinks up. And that'll be February 12th for the LSU Mississippi State game. The game tips off at 7 o'clock. The tailgate will get going somewhere in between 3:30 and 4 o'clock and walk you all the way up until tip-off.
Tailgate.
Yeah, it'll be a nice one, man. And hopefully we can get some of the weather that we've had the last couple of weekends, and everybody can get out there and enjoy it and get ready for LSU Mississippi State. The tailgate will be for February 12th, Saturday, February 12th. So if you can hear this right now, you hear it right now, or you hear it in a podcast and later today or another day down the road, you are invited. Come check it out. Our tailgate is going to be over in lot 105. Daniel Newman, compliments of him over at Edward Jones our great financial advisor over there. You can find him and email him at daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. All right, I sent the group this morning the latest podcast for Let's Go between Tom Brady, Larry Fitzgerald, and Jim Gray that you can find just about anywhere that you get your podcast from. And Brady was talking about his retirement, and he also had Joe Burrow on, which was some really cool conversation between Burrow and Brady. Because, like, when you watch Burrow play, and I was on a couple of radio hits the past couple of days. Yesterday, really, it was such a long day. It felt like 2 days cut in half. But I was on in Atlanta yesterday morning. Then I was up in North Dakota with my guy Nate Brown of Fox Sports Radio up there. He does a great radio show. He had a pretty impressive guest list, but he brought me on to talk a little bit about Burrow, and then he was talking about Sean Payton and the Saints and the turnover and what could be next there. But the legend of Burrow and just the feeling that he has across the country, right? In this part of the world, we're very biased to Joey. We look at Burrow in a different light. He's very much a hero down here. He's someone who can do no wrong. Even if he never takes the Bengals to the Super Bowl, he is forever ingrained into the spirit, into the heart of LSU fans, into South Louisiana, forever. He'll never pay for another meal in this part of the world. He will always be just a hero down here.
He'll get a statue
but now what he is accomplishing in the NFL, and to see the wave that is kind of going across the country with sports fans and football fans about Joe Burrow is pretty cool to see. You could hear it yesterday when I was on with Nate, just kind of some of the questions and what they were geared towards is, I mean, this guy, have you ever seen anything like this? Is this shocking that he's got the Bengals in the Super Bowl? And the answer is, and like I said, if you would have asked me 3 months ago, if you would have asked me at the beginning of the seasons, I would not have bet on the Bengals making the Super Bowl, right? But now that they're here, I'm not surprised by it. Like, it's not shocking that they are in the Super Bowl in just year two, the first full season that he's healthy in the league, that he has the Bengals in the biggest game. Now, like I said, a couple of weeks ago, months ago, start of the season, I'm not throwing anything down on Cincinnati making the Super Bowl. But the fact that they're there after the run and everything that we've seen, beating Mahomes twice in a month, going on the road and beating Tennessee at home in the divisional round, hitting the road at Kansas City and beating Andy Reid and the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. I mean, all of this stuff that the legend has started to accumulate with the NFL and on Sundays, it's very believable, right?
Joe Burrow.
It's very Joe Burrow. And to hear his conversation with Tom Brady on Brady's podcast this morning, if you have not heard it, I definitely recommend it, especially for the Burrow fans that we are down here in this part of the world. I mean, it's great conversation between one of the best, and even Burrow, to hear him in that vein. You rarely hear him in any instance, especially when he's speaking publicly, when he is the student, when he is, he's not the alpha in the room, or he is not as alpha as the alpha he is talking to, and the respect that exists between Burrow aimed to Brady is pretty cool to hear. I don't think that it would be surprising to hear that Burrow is very much respected and very respectful of Tom Brady in that setting, but to hear it, to actually hear those two going back and forth, and to also hear Tom Brady's perspective on Burrow. Because as Brady is introducing him, he's also speaking about how he got to know Joe Burrow. And it was watching him at LSU. And it was seeing some of the things that he was accomplishing. He was seeing the way that Burrow handled himself out there. It was also interesting to hear the way that Brady watches quarterback play, right? Like some of the things that he looks for and stood out from Burrow's game to Brady that really, got Burrow that quick respect from the best to ever do it. It's a really cool conversation. I know Lloyd heard it on the way in this morning, and Burrow is offered up some questions by Brady, and Burrow just can't even help himself at some points. Like he's like, look, before we get to the answer, I got a question for you. You know what I mean? I want to know about you and your toughness and where that came from, and to hear the lineage of quarterbacks on how this thing kind of works, right? Like Brady was explaining growing up watching Joe Montana, Steve Young, Dan Marino, John Elway, and crew. Brett Favre has a lot of respect for Favre.
Well, I think it's the toughness. That's
the toughness and standing in the pocket.
Yeah. And that's really what Burrow went back to whenever he was. I mean, Jim Gray put it on a tee for him to like pick the brain of Tom Brady going into a Super Bowl. He was like, here's your chance to ask the man that's probably the best to ever do it how to handle your first Super Bowl. He was like, hold on real quick, Jim. I want to talk about toughness. And that's what he was like, that's what he was referencing when Brady was talking about Burrow and him having to, he got sacked, 63 times, I think, this year. And he was trying to, put into perspective like what Burrow was going through with his toughness. And then he was like, ask Tom what like your first Super Bowl should be like. He was like, hold on. My first memory of football is Tom Brady when you get decleated by Nate Clements in 2001. We were talking about it pre-show. I think Joe Burrow was 5, and he still remembers that hit. He remembers Tom Brady popping straight back up, and he was like, I wanted to play like that. That made me want to be a quarterback. It made me want to play the game the same way that Tom Brady played. And to see both of those guys kind of have that conversation, it was almost a passing of the torch. When Tom Brady was, I mean, obviously he got cuckolded by Schefter with his retirement announcement, so you have to push it back. I don't know what they're going to do it on. It was probably going to be on the Let's Go podcast. Like, Tom is so socially savvy and is going to push this whole new brand and gets absolutely stepped on and railroaded by Schefter. So you could hear Tom's voice at the beginning of the interview kind of like, it's day-to-day now. Like, I don't know. I got caught in the middle of this thing that, this guy wants to break news, and I'm trying to kind of announce my retirement of my own. But to see Tom talk to Joey B and to see that kind of almost, like I said, passing of the torch to like, hey, this is your league now, it feels like a little bit, because there's not a lot of quarterbacks that probably remind Tom of Tom, and I believe Joe Burrow is one of those for Tom.
Absolutely. You can hear it.
Yes, there's like mutual respect in their voice.
You can hear the setup when he is setting up. Let's post a link inside of the YouTube chat app if you don't mind. Lloyd will post that up for us. It's a pretty quick conversation, which is enjoyable about it as well. What's that?
Ads.
Yeah, a lot of ads.
Well, I mean,
you got to imagine Brady's not. He's
27 minutes.
He's not committing every Sunday of his time without some type of financial. Yeah, right. Mark Cumby's asking for the link. We will post that inside of the chat app for you to listen to. But it's a great listen, man. It really is. It's cool because. Like I said, rarely do you hear Burrow and Brady very, dressed down and candid. Yeah, I think that it's a really cool perspective from a sports fan's point of view to hear these, quarterback alphas, these quarterback elites, sit down and really talk to one another about the game and how they have gotten to each point of their career, and hearing Burrow, talk to Brady and say, look, I got so much more I got to accomplish before I can get to your point. But now, I'm off and flying. I've gone through a couple of examples and circumstances in the league, and now I'm going to my first Super Bowl, and, things are starting to happen and around him. And it happened quick for Brady. Brady was a guy that, he wasn't a starter day one like Burrow was, but once he was thrust into the game, within a blink of an eye, he was in a Super Bowl, and he was the MVP of the Super Bowl. It was very quick in the way that things happened for both of these guys. So the trajectory, the potential from Burrow's standpoint, but moreover, the respect that they have for one another is really cool to hear. It really is. It's a great conversation, and Lloyd's posting the link into the app, so you can snag that if you want to grab it and check it out. But
yeah, don't listen until 9 a.m. And then until 9 a.m.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not going to redirect you here, but it's on there. It's on there. We trust you.
We appreciate you being here. Make sure you hit that like button, that share button, that comment button, as Tom Brady also did say within that podcast that he is not ready to make the announcement. He is not prepared to make that choice on whether or not, or at least publicly, he's going to return to the game for year 23 or he is going to step away and retire. And a lot of it sounded like what we mentioned yesterday. Brady wants to control the story. He's not going to play and give 22 years of his life to the game to let the announcement of him walking away be broke by some ESPN reporter. You could tell that really pissed him off, man.
The picture of Schefter when they went to him, what was it, in between the AFC and NFC championship, and have to reiterate the fact that he's like, yes, from what I've heard, Tom Brady is retiring. And who did he have on the report with him?
Jeff Darlington.
And apparently Jeff Darlington is very plugged into the Patriots and with Tom Brady, so that's where the source came from, I would imagine. And for them to do that to Tom is very interesting. I think that I don't know if it will drive Tom back to give a double middle bird to the NFL and Adam Schefter and be like, all right, if y'all think I'm going to retire, then I'll just come back and play one more year, because he can still do it. He's still got miles in, he's still got gas in the chamber. And I just don't know if he's retiring because he wanted to start this multimedia company and do all this. He was setting himself up for life after football.
Sure.
But I think he could still play at least one more year if it wants to be essentially a middle finger to those guys for trying to break the story for him. Then I can see Tom coming back as a big petty move.
Daily Rubachi, I'm with you. I'm with you. I don't think that it's over.
I think he wants to retire.
I think he does too.
He built all this stuff out for this reason.
But one of the things that's a little head scratching to me is that he's always said 45. He's always
44?
Mentioned that he wanted to play until he was 45. When asked about, can you do this deep into the future, and 45 has always been the number, and he's got 1 year left on this contract, and he'll be 45 years old, and he's playing at such a high level. That's the
Best
part.
Year of his career.
From a statistic standpoint, he's not played any better. And I would just think from a competitive, Breeze couldn't walk away from that. Breeze was struggling whether or not he should stay with a rubber arm. If he had a stronger arm than he had 5 years ago, a lot like Brady, or from Brady's point of view, as strong of an arm as he had over the last 5 to 8 years, you couldn't throw those guys out of the league. So that's why, from Brady's point of view, where you're playing at this level,
it's 45.
You mentioned that you wanted to play until you're 45. You play one more year, and you've accomplished that goal. You've got 1 year left on your contract, and your team is pretty competitive. You're a move or two away. You lose 2 offensive linemen in a wild card game. You lose 2 of your top wide receivers in week 18 in the first round of the playoffs. And, if that doesn't happen to you, it comes down to one possession against the Rams.
You were in the Super Bowl.
And you're in it, right? I don't think that the pitch is that difficult to Brady in the sense of, buddy,
his team is still built to win now.
Absolutely. And
I think it's
you're Tom Brady. What else do you want?
It's set up for you to succeed if you can get Godwin back. I think Antonio Brown is very much out the league. I don't think he gets to come back. And that's another hit on Tom. That's probably another factor that weighs in his mind. His guy that he went to bat for, AB, is no longer going to be on the Bucs. You have to kind of convince Rob Gronkowski to come back if you want to do that. He's very much year to year. And he said the only quarterback he ever wants to play for is Tom.
Yeah.
So he could probably get him back in the boat. And then Leonard is on he's going to be a free agent. So there's some moves that they would have to make to be able to make the lineup a little bit more enticing for Tom to want to come back. But if all is what's reported and Tom does retire, the Buccaneers are back to square one. Bruce Arians might walk out the building because that's a total restart. They have no quarterback really there. Who did they draft? I think it's
they drafted Trask.
Yeah, Kyle Trask. I don't think he's been getting a lot of reps over at in Tampa Bay. If you have heard any of the stories about how Tom and Peyton Manning run practices, you ain't getting reps. They take all of them. If you don't have your helmet strapped up, they'll run in and hide it from you. That's how Tom operates. So I would imagine Kyle Trask is not ready to be a starter next year. So this is a very much a defining point for where Tampa Bay is, as pretty much the crown jewel of the NFC South the last 2 years with Tom. And then if he's gone, they're back to the drawing board.
What a crazy power shift in the NFC South. I don't know where it resides now, but just all the power is gone.
It was the strongest division in football, maybe, to now the one it's an afterthought.
It
the
was
Saints
searching for an identity.
Yeah, Saints with no Sean Payton, no Drew Brees, Tampa with no Tom Brady, no AB, none of all of the fanfare that was there. And then who's left? Atlanta, Matt Ryan's on the back end of his career. Carolina,
Matt
God knows what they're doing.
Rule's
Yeah,
firing
Matt
everybody
Rule,
to hang on.
Yes, he's just clearing space to save himself. So I don't know, like that league is no longer that division is no longer competitive or really scary for anybody.
Or just they don't know who they are.
Right.
You know, I mean, they're just trying to find their way at this
if
point.
Sean Payton stays, you would think the Saints would be the favorite.
Oh, they'd be in the
if Tom
driver's
Brady
seat.
leaves, yes. It's crazy.
All right, we are brought to you by GoFlow, IV, and Spa. Remember, they're located on Jefferson Highway. You can find them easily by logging online to GEAUXFlowIV.com. 7970 Jefferson Highway is where you find them. Whether you suffer from chronic dehydration, if you've been sick over the last couple of weeks and you're looking for a little energy boost, or you're active and you're out there playing pickup basketball, or you're a weekend warrior and you're looking to help your athletic performance, like by replenishing electrolytes and vitamins after your workout. We see Andre Anthony. We see all types of the LSU football team in there each time that we stop by GoFlow IV. You need to check it out, GEAUXFlowIV.com, GEAUXFlowIV.com, if you want to help hydrate and help your skin get a more youthful glow. Check out GoFlowIV.com, and they've got a promo code over there. If you just mention the Jordy Culotta Show, if you mention anything around the show, Culotta Show, Jordy Culotta Show, JC Show, they will take 15% off of your initial visit. So if you've been wondering, you've been curious about checking it out, now would be the time. Give them a call today. Log online to GEAUXFlowIV.com. They do take walk-ins. They recommend that you make an appointment, but the appointment-making process is very simple. You can do that online by just logging on to GEAUXFlowIV.com, or you could call them, 225-953-8150, 225-953-8150. Mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Get 15% off of your initial visit. Will Wade of the LSU basketball team next. We'll ask him about tonight's matchup versus Ole Miss, and get a preview of the second half of the season with his squad starting to get healthy as they are coming off of that Big 12 challenge. We'll ask him about what went wrong and what he expects from a minute standpoint tonight from his squad. The Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet every single day. We'll be back with head coach, the General, Will Wade, right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Do you have questions about your finances? Are you looking for recommendations from a skilled financial advisor? Get in touch with our friend Daniel Newman over at Edward Jones. You can find him easily by logging online and shooting him an email at daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. That is daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. Whether it is help with your 401k or just fiscal advice heading into the new season, get in touch with Daniel today. Best way to do it? Email him, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. He's our experienced financial advisor. Let him be yours, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022, 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Rarely do you hear Will Wade talk about anybody being freaking him out as far as their smarts go, right? I mean, whoever he talked
Big brain
to
on that guy.
from a NBA scouting standpoint to help with the turnovers and to help with the missed shots around the basket has made a huge impact as the Tigers, as you heard him yesterday in the press conference, putting in a lot of work as they host Ole Miss tonight. Another 8 o'clock tip-off. This will be at the Maravich Center on the SEC Network, and the General joins us from the team hotel this morning as we are booted up here on this Tuesday morning. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Doing well. How are we doing?
Doing good. Obviously, yesterday when you took to the press conference, you had not seen your team practice. You were walking into practice, so you didn't really know the status of what your team was going to look like tonight. After seeing them go through and run yesterday, How is their health going into tonight's tip-off versus Ole Miss?
I mean, I think we're better. I think we're healthier than we've been in a while. Dave is obviously okay. He's pretty much 100%. Eason's pretty much 100%, and Penson is a lot further along than he was on Saturday. So, I think we're as healthy as we've probably been in a month. We've still got some naggy stuff. Brandon Murray's hands hurt, and he'll play through that. But Gaines has a wrist issue that he'll continue to play through. But I think we're as healthy as we've probably been in 3 weeks to a month, and hopefully we can continue to move forward and kind of get back in rhythm tonight.
A lot of people have pointed at this part of your schedule as talking about the part that eases up from the competitive standpoint. But is this the most difficult part because of the things that you have to coach against, like the health of your squad, people knowing who you are, people being scouted, much like you have scouted your opponent a month and a half into the season, people have done the same to you? What's the challenges of coaching the second half part of the season when you have to deal with so many variables?
I mean, look, I told the guys after the game Saturday, we're in a sprint. We got 10 SEC games left, and I gave them a number of how many we need to win. And, look, we're bunched up in the middle of this league, and we got a lot of work to do. There needs to be a hunger and an urgency and an air of desperation to us that we got to get back. We got to get back on track, and we got to get back going. So, that starts tonight, and then, certainly after tonight, we've got to go on the road and try to play better on the road. We're just not going to be a very good team if all we can do is win at home. And, they don't play the NCAA tournament at the PMAC if we're fortunate enough to make it. And so, we're going to have to start playing better away from home. And that's going to be a huge challenge as we have, we've got a couple road games after this game tonight, but we've got to play with a hunger and a desperation tonight that, I thought our guys played hard Saturday, but I thought TCU was just a little hungrier, a little more desperate than we were. And TCU followed up with a huge win last night at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But, we've got to have a hunger and a desperation to us that, our backs are against the wall. We're in the middle of the pack in this deal, and we've got to start either creating separation or we're just a middle of the road team. And so we've got to start doing that tonight.
Coach, I thought that Gaines' maturity was on display Saturday. He very much looked confident out there, and I thought it was because of the month-long stretch that he had become your primary ball handler, or at least the guy from a point guard standpoint that you had counted on. How have you seen him grow in that time? Now that you got Penson back and working him back into the mix, it seems like Gaines' confidence is sky high right now.
I mean, that's the benefit to having some of these, having some of these issues with injuries is, we've been able to develop some of these other guys. It's forced us to stick with Gaines for long periods of time, and he's certainly improved. He's gotten better. But, when we go back to, Penson getting back closer to where he can be, and, Gaines is not going to play 32 minutes a game, which we don't need anybody playing that much. We're playing guys way too much, which is why we wore down. I mean, Gaines and Murray both played 20 minutes in the second half. They never came out at TCU, and that's a major problem. And that's why we wore down there at the end of the game. So we've got to be cognizant of that. But certainly Gaines has improved because there's a lot of stuff. We can talk about it in practice. We can work on it in practice. But until you're in a game and until you're playing in a game, you just don't. That's the best way to learn is in a game and in game-like situations. And so Eric's certainly gotten better, and he's gonna be better off for it, and our team's gonna be better off for it as we come down the stretch here.
Deshaun Ruffin was named SEC Freshman of the Week for Ole Miss coming in tonight. You mentioned that they had a nice performance versus Kansas State on Saturday. They come into the PMAC tonight 11-10 overall and struggling a little bit in SEC play. What are the challenges that Coach Kermit Davis's squad present to you this evening?
I mean, look, Ruffin's a great player. He's McDonald's All-American. He does a great job getting to the rim, even though he's a smaller guy. He draws a ton of fouls. Very, very good. Very, very good free throw shooter, and draws a lot of fouls. They're physical. They're going to change their defenses which is something we haven't seen a lot. We've seen teams that play almost all man and maybe mix in a couple possessions of 2-3 zone. But, they're going to play 1-3-1. They're going to play 2-3. They're going to play 1-3-1, 2-2-3. They're going to play 1-3-1 to man. They're going to play man and hedge ball screens. We've been playing against an ice basically for a month, which is a different ball screen coverage. And, we've got to read the hedge a little bit better. We've got to do some different reads on the hedge. They're going to hard hedge with the 4 and the 5. So there's a lot of differences in what they do, compared to really who we've been playing. And so hopefully we're prepared. We worked as hard as we could on it on Sunday and Monday, and we're going to have a spirited shoot around today. We're going to try to go a little bit harder and shoot around today. So hopefully we can set the tone and come out and play well tonight.
What have you seen from your offense over the last couple of weeks that maybe lends its hand to the struggles? What do you see that you're working on?
Well, a couple things. First off, the one good part about Saturday is the first time we didn't turn the ball over a ton. We spent a ton of time working on getting our turnovers under control. We're working on finishing right now. We got to finish better. Around the rim, and there's certainly a couple reasons for that, and some of the stuff we can't fix till the off season. But there are some technique things that we can fix now. And we went about trying to fix the turnovers starting about 2 weeks ago. And we're starting to see some dividends from that. We spent 10 minutes at the beginning of every practice working on that. We're going to spend 10 or 15 minutes after practice with a bunch of guys working on some of this finishing stuff. And so, those are two huge areas. We scored over a point of possession on Saturday, which we haven't done very often against high major teams. And TCU's defense was 13th in the country. Our problem Saturday, believe it or not, wasn't our offense, which it has been for most of the year. We just got to get back in rhythm. People forget now. Before we were starting to hit on offense now. Before Penson got hurt, we had 79 on Tennessee. Tennessee had the second best defense in the country. We were in control of that thing, and we were starting to really hit on offense with him out there and him kind of controlling things. And it's been a slugfest. It's been a little bit of a struggle without him, but I think he's starting to come back. He's starting to feel better, starting to look better. He moved really, really well yesterday at practice. He went back in last night after we got to the hotel and did our film. He went back in and had a good shooting session at 9:30 last night, from 9:30 to 10:30 with our guys, with one of our graduate assistants, and we were down there watching. And so I think he's rounding back into form. I don't mean he's going to be ready to play 30 minutes, but I think he can give us some more minutes, which will be helpful. And so we're not that far off from being better on offense. It's not going to be pretty. That's just kind of the group we've got this year. We're not going to be as pretty on offense, but I think we can be effective. If we could score, 1.05 points possession. We're at 1.07 on Saturday, and get back to holding teams in the 0.9s, 0.85 to 0.89s, or 0.85 to 0.9s. We'll be in business. So we just got to get back to that, and we've been close, and we've got to get this rhythm and chemistry as we come down the stretch here.
I know you'd adapt if they tip the thing off at 1 a.m., but what do you make of these 8 p.m. tip-offs? How do you like them? How does your squad spend the day after a long day waiting on a tip-off like this?
Look, it's part of it. We played at 11 a.m. on Saturday, so that's just part of it. The way TV works, and so look, the 8 a.m. tip, it is what it is, and we've got a long day, so they'll go to class. We're actually getting ready to have breakfast out here at the hotel here at 8, and then we'll go to class. We'll come back. We'll have shoot around from 2:30 to 4. We'll go into a stretching routine and a lifting routine after that, and then they'll come back and do their shooting routine. Then we'll just get straight into warm up. So, it's just a little bit different routine. Our stuff's pushed a little bit further back, but it should be a normal day for us, as we did it last Wednesday as well. So I know it's a little bit late for some of the fans, the 8 p.m. tips, and they don't like it, but hopefully we can have a great student turnout like we had last week against Texas A&M. That was phenomenal. That really, really helped our team. And, those students are just getting started at 8:00 at night most nights.
Yeah, balcony Bengals are just they're pre-gaming at 8 p.m.
It'd be a little early for them.
Hopefully we can get a great student turnout tonight.
Recruiting seems like it's going good.
Yeah, we're doing all right.
Boot up, baby.
We're gonna have to get in this portal here at the end here and get us one or two more. But I like where we're heading. I like how we're shaping for next year and the following year. But we're doing all right now. We're gonna wait till this season ends and get in this portal and see if we can get us a couple more pretty good pieces here.
Boot up. We will see you tonight at the 8:00 tip-off versus Ole Miss. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks so much. Boot up, guys.
Yes, sir. There he is. Will Wade checking in this morning from the team hotel as they get ready for Ole Miss tonight as the Tigers and Rebs will tip it off at 8 p.m. That conversation daily brought to you by Phil's Oyster Bar. Remember, when Will Wade shows up here on the Jordy Culotta Show, that is always compliments of our friends over at Phil's Oyster Bar. Phil's Oyster Bar located in Southdown Shopping Center, a staple of South Baton Rouge, of South Louisiana. Fresh seafood, fresh selections, great oysters. Get over there and see them at Phil's Oyster Bar. Tell Anthony and the crew that you heard it right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. As always, when Will Wade shows up, it is compliments of our friend over at Phil's. We'll get a perspective from Kermit Davis, Ole Miss head coach, coming up here in 15 minutes. We will also talk to Ben Baby, who covers the Cincinnati Bengals for ESPN.com. As Baby will be here talking about this road trip for Cincinnati, heading into SoFi Stadium against Los Angeles, against the Rams in Super Bowl 56, coming up a week from Sunday. You
think there'll be more Bengals fans or Rams fans? The Rams always got blowed out in their own stadium by the Niners.
Los Angeles is very much it's a very
town.
unloyal town.
Unloyal.
It has no loyalty in the city of a city of angels. But I'd imagine that this is what Los Angeles wants. They want a winner. They'll support anything that's kind of flashy and winning. And the Super Bowl in their city with their team feels very Hollywood. I'd imagine that this thing is going to be dressed up with a lot of Hollywood and a lot of LA. But I do think that Cincinnati will be. I'd imagine that there's a ton of Cincinnati fans in Los Angeles. You know what I mean? If you go to when you spend time in Los Angeles, there's a bar for everybody, and if you go to their bar, it's it's not like going to one in New Orleans where there's a couple of 15, 20 people per alumni base. I mean, you go somewhere in Los Angeles that has a team bar, and I mean, there's thousands of people that are flooding out. So I mean, I'm sure that Cincinnati is well represented in the market, and I mean, they're going back to the Super Bowl for the first time in 34 years. Even though Stewie this morning was talking about the ticket prices. I mean, somewhere upwards of like $5,000 in
for
the
nosebleeds? It might be a little rich for the old, that's the Rust Belt, dude.
The Midwest, man.
They'll just beat you up and take your ticket. But I think that, like you said, 34 years, they had Ickey Woods on the stage for the AFC Championship. Like, they were going all the way back to, like, Bengals lore to pull this thing out.
Yeah.
I'd imagine that this is going to be just a carpool line to get over there, because when else do you think it's going to happen? You can't take these things for granted. But you kind of have to feel pretty confident if you're Cincy, like, all right, if we got Joe Burrow, might be in this thing a couple more times than just once. Like, you're going to have a 10-year run here with the way that offense is set up, that if you really just avoid injury, the Bengals should be in this conversation nearly every year.
How many times do you think that sports radio hosts and talking heads had that conversation in 2010 with Sean Payton and Drew Brees?
I know. That's what scares you, right? Like, nobody probably knows better than Louisiana. Like, we know what Joe Burrow can do for a franchise almost immediately, as you've seen it. Then the pitfalls that come in the NFL. It is so hard to get to the Super Bowl, and everything that has to happen, like, almost has to go right. And the way that they've played, going down 14-0 in both games to Kansas City, able to come back, like, they're playing with fire. But Joey Burrow seems very comfortable in the midst of all of it.
It is. You would think that the bet on Burrow returning to the Super Bowl.
I mean, they priced the same thing about Dan Marino
over the next 10 years because Marino went in his rookie season.
And they electric offense
And
changed the NFL.
I think it was at the Orange Bowl. I think it was in the city of Miami. and he was the losing quarterback versus Montana and the 49ers, and both of them were very, very young. And you wonder if Marino would have won that game, if the trajectory would have been a little different for each of them. I mean, Montana went on to, did Montana win 6? Or 4?
4. I think there's a lot of, well, and you heard, if you like go back to the interview, if you heard Tom Brady and Joe Burrow talking, there was a lot of Joe Montana like references.
Well, Brady grew up in
that's his guy.
He grew up on the West Coast. He grew up in that area of the country watching the 49ers accomplish all of that. So, I mean, as a young quarterback, it would be like you growing up in South Louisiana.
Burrow watching Brady.
It'd be like growing up in South Louisiana over the last decade, and you're a big-time quarterback. I mean, how could you not look at Drew Brees' game and almost model yourself after that, or at least look at that as the standard?
Right.
I mean, even Burrow got caught up in a little bit in the short time that he spent down here in South Louisiana. When they met that day in the Saints facility in the practice leading up to the national championship game, I mean, Burrow was talking about how much he had studied and known what Brees was doing and accomplishing behind the scenes. So,
does that surprise you that he was that he's that big of a Drew fan? Like, I don't know if they don't really play the same style of football, but maybe he just respects his acumen so much that he was like, I mean, I got to look at Drew Brees and kind of model some of the things that I do, but their games are a little bit different.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much you could take away other than just like, all right, this is how you prepare for a game.
Jeffrey Bone, Jordy, that Super Bowl was played in Palo Alto at Stanford Stadium. I'm sorry, it was on the West Coast near the San Francisco 49ers home stadium.
Was he there? Was Tom at that game? At the Joe Montana Super Bowl?
That's a good question. That's
a young boomer?
I don't know. Wow, look at that one, man. Look at that shot.
That's a
great
That's
picture.
a framer.
Breeze has got the LSU hat on. Wow. That's a cool picture. At 8 o'clock this morning, we're going to talk to Kermit Davis 10 minutes from now. Ole Miss head basketball coach. Get a preview of his thoughts tonight with the Tigers and Rebels. We just talked to Will Wade, LSU head basketball coach. You saw that Wade was feeling right, at least about the chemistry of his team and the health of his team getting back. He talked a little bit about Xavier Pinson working out over the last 24 hours. He went back in for a shoot-around last night after practice, monitored by team doctors and coaches for LSU last night. It seems like they like what they saw. So it will hopefully will translate into more minutes for Pinson that can get this team starting to play with more confidence coming down the stretch.
I like that he was like, don't forget that this team hung 80 on Tennessee. He's like, because everybody, all the reports out there, like this offense is broken. What can LSU do on offense? He's like, look, there was a time when this thing was right, and it's not the far stretch to think that they can't get back to that. It's just a matter of getting his guys healthy. He's been dealt kind of a shit hand lately, and just kind of hold the rope for these guys and try to keep everything together until they can get healthy. And I think, like you said, it's been a great development project for a Gaines, for a Murray. Like, this will help you in the long run. But don't forget that there was a time when they were dropping 80 on people.
Yeah.
Like, they can get back to that relatively easily, I'd imagine, if they can stay healthy.
Sure, absolutely. And I think that they're closer to being at full health than they have been over the last couple of weeks. It seems like Days is playing himself back into full strength, and that Pinson, hopefully,
get him back in the PMAC.
Right, man. I mean, this is a get-right game tonight. As we said, LSU's favored by 13.5. Some services have it at 14 going into the tip-off. But, I mean, LSU is a heavy favorite going into this matchup tonight versus Ole Miss. So we'll see. We'll see if they can figure it out and get it right, because this is the time of the year where this thing needs to start righting itself. It needs to start pulling itself together, and you need to start finding out what the rotations are going to look like, who you can count on, and who's going to, hopefully the minutes that Justice Williams, we mentioned Eric Gaines, Alex Fudge, guys like that have seen their minutes really start to expand, have gotten really good experience out of that. That's going to translate over into this late February push and early March, postseason schedule. LSU's going to be a tournament team. They're going to look to make noise.
10 games left.
I know.
They're running out of time a little bit.
Well, I mean, this is the part of the schedule when we looked at it and said, if you do trip and fall early on in conference, this is where you got to get it right. And, credit them last week for getting the win versus Texas A&M and an undermanned team. And, they had to kind of scratch and claw and figure it out. It was like Wade said. I mean, it's not going to be pretty. So, I mean, some of this stuff is going to be kind of hard to watch, or it's going to be, it's not going to be pretty offense. It's not going to be, 3-pointers falling and raining in from all over the court. They're going to have to work each possession to try and find a quality shot. And, they're still looking to find their way on offense on who can, get those shots for them. So with the addition of Pinson and with the addition of Days, that should, it should tremendously help you.
What is Vegas doing with these lines on LSU, though? Back-to-back, back-to-back home games. You had, Texas A&M was 10.5, and that felt like too much, and now 12.5 feels like a ton on this end also. Oh, yeah. The Queen.
The Carpool Queen.
So, but the over-under is, I think 124? So, I don't know there's a lot of respect on the points side for LSU, but not a lot for the defensive thing. They're still hitting on the unders, but I don't know why they're giving LSU so much credit on the offensive end.
Me either. I think that is it Eason? Maybe.
I don't know what they're looking at.
I mean, they're looking at Eason and seeing his draft stock go up, and
we started the last 3 games, huh?
Yeah. I mean, that's how desperate they've been offensively.
Because he doesn't want him in that role.
No, he had him in the role where he wants him, where he can provide energy off the bench on both sides of the floor, and. But when you're looking for a spark, you got to find one. Good morning, Carpool Queen.
Good morning.
How we feeling?
Good. Lots of traffic out there. It's
rain.
Traffic.
Wild.
I can feel it. You can feel the traffic.
It starts raining and people just
Is it raining?
Yeah, it was like off and on the whole way here.
Gross.
I think I hit your car a little bit, Lloyd.
Oh.
I mean, I don't. It didn't do anything to my car, but I'm pretty sure I hit yours.
Dude, that's what that thing's there for. It's just like
just
a bumper.
like a little tap. There were so many
bumper.
Dents in the area already. I couldn't tell if I did
I
any of them.
didn't even do that. I let my friend drive my car on spring break, and he came back. He called me. I was on the beach, and he was like, "Oh, got some bad news." Like, you just fucking handle it. All right, This is on you now. Like, you took the car, not me. I don't want to hear from it.
Right.
So that was his. They obviously didn't do anything because he didn't get it fixed.
He didn't even get it fixed for
No,
you?
he still burns him up a little bit, but that's that's
like,
what we
how
live
many
in.
spring breaks ago was that?
Ooh.
Do you still do
Last
spring
year?
break?
No, it was 2015
Wow.
when I was in college.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's better.
Supposed to be in college.
I'll go to college.
All right, we're going to close that hour 1 here. Remember, all of our stuff is podcasted and brought back to you. Lloyd stayed up late last night here at the studio fixing the Spotify podcast. I think we're all straight on the podcast that have originated from Spotify.
Yeah, we're not standing with Neil Young over here. It just happened. What a coincidence that happened at the same
right.
time.
I mean,
Such a coincidence.
Neil, for God's sakes, we don't want to leave Spotify.
We're good. We got no dog in this fight.
Sheesh. All right, hour 2, we will lead you off with Kermit Davis, head basketball coach of Ole Miss, will stop in and give his thoughts on the Tigers and the Rebels tonight. We will also switch the conversation to the NFL and to the Cincinnati Bengals here in hour 2 as Ben Baby will stop by from ESPN.com as he covers the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals on their way to Super Bowl 56. Compliments of the right arm of Joey Burrow. We will ask him how much madness is in or around the city right now, and what's the plan for Cincinnati? When are they going to take off to Los Angeles? It's a home game for the Rams as they're playing in SoFi Stadium. So how is Cincinnati, who is the traveling team but the home squad in the Super Bowl?
And I think a little bit of the public's favorite, right? Doesn't it? It
I
feels
would
like
think
everybody
so.
wants the Bengals to win.
I think so.
Certainly against Kansas
Why are they
City.
the home squad, though?
I think
how
it's
does
just-
that work?
Well, it's AFC, NFC. I don't know if it flips every year, if there's some type of qualifier for it, but the Rams are not the home team
Is
in the
it
Super Bowl. They're the
better
road
record?
team.
No, this is
Back me out of here, dude. Don't quit asking me
Somebody
questions.
knows,
I
right?
told you, I don't know.
Whoever wins the dodgeball game in the Pro Bowl gets
Maybe.
home field advantage in the
Right?
Super Bowl.
Possibly. Go some MLB All-Star
Just
Stadium.
get Jarvis Landry on your team, you'll be stacked.
Is
That
it-
man
is
single-handedly won it 2 years in a row.
He's a dodgeball superstar, bro. Flynn used to have that dodgeball tournament over there at the Sportplex, and Jarvis and Odell came in there one morning and just cleaned house.
Borderline dangerous.
It is.
We need to have one.
I'm in. It's
I
easy.
would love to do it.
All right, hour 2 coming your way. We will talk to Kermit Davis of Ole Miss basketball next here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Make sure and hit that like button, share button, comment button, and we appreciate you being here on this Tuesday morning, starting your day with us. Huge day in recruiting tomorrow. We will have you covered. We will make sure that we're
From the
keeping up with
Catfish
what's going
House.
on from
Catfish Town.
Jacoby
Catfish
Matthews.
Town.
Yeah, from Catfish Town. Jacoby Matthews, Trevante Citizen, Harold Perkins, all of them expected to announce tomorrow. We will have you updated here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Come back with us. We will talk to Kermit Davis next here as we are driven and powered by Go Chevrolet every single day. It alternates every year.
Wait, what? Oh, what does? We're still on
It's
that.
shocking we don't know that. Big sports talk here.
It looks so weird and open right here now.
Yeah, we changed it up a
I
little bit.
know, but I'm sitting here like, why are you different?
that easy?
Is that easy?
Why can I see you now?
Do you have questions about your finances? Are you looking for recommendations from a skilled financial advisor? Get in touch with our friend Daniel Newman over at Edward Jones. You can find him easily by logging online and shooting him an email at daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. That is daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. Whether it is help with your 401k or just fiscal advice heading into the new season, get in touch with Daniel today. Best way to do it? Email him, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. He's our experienced financial advisor. Let him be yours, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com.
Papa Earl's, the fine spice, originating right down here in South Louisiana by our guy Mark Pop Norman. Developed it back in 2018 and won Amazon's Newcomer of the Year in 2019. They pride themselves in having 30% less salt and sodium than the leading brands at the same price point. You can find them locally. Look for Papa Earl's at Rouse's, Calandro's, Mathern's, High Neighbor, and more. True Blue Water, true hydration at its finest. Right now, you're only a few minutes away from getting your 5-gallon water delivered to you, just like we are over here at the UDL. All you got to do is log on to truebluewater.com. That's TRU, bluewater.com. The website's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU, bluewater.com.
All right, we just talked to Will Wade 30 minutes ago and got a preview of LSU Ole Miss tonight. We go to the other sideline and catch up with one of our favorite, Kermit Davis, was a longtime assistant coach here in Baton Rouge as he sat with Coach John Brady on the bench. They had so many successful runs during their time here in Baton Rouge, and now is the head coach over at Ole Miss, and has really got that program and the faith restored in the Rebel basketball program, and a really good friend of our show who helps us out anytime that Ole Miss and LSU meet up on the hardwood, is so kind with his time to come by and give us a preview and catch up. We welcome into the conversation Coach Kermit Davis of the Ole Miss Rebels here on this Tuesday morning to the Jordy Culotta Show. Coach, as always, thank you for your time. Welcome back to Baton Rouge, and good morning.
Good morning.
Oh. Coach, we got you?
Hello.
Yes, sir. I got you. Can you hear us?
I'm sorry. You with?
Coach, yep. Yeah, hold tight. I'm gonna
Give it to a redial.
take a small break, and we're gonna patch back up with Coach Davis. Hold tight. And you partner with Hub International Insurance, you receive a vast network of risk insurance, employee benefits, retirement, and wealth. All right, let's patch back into Coach Kermit Davis, who is here in Baton Rouge getting ready for tonight's action. Coach, good morning. How are you? Welcome to Baton Rouge. Welcome back to Baton Rouge, Coach. As Ole Miss as Ole Miss at LSU tip off tonight at 8 o'clock. We talked to Coach Wade 30 minutes ago and got a preview about tonight's game from his side and wanted to get us a preview from your side. But he was talking about, obviously, the success that you guys had on Saturday versus Kansas State and carrying that momentum over. Talk about the mentality of your team as you guys tip it off tonight versus 8 o'clock versus LSU.
Yeah, Jordy, it's I think the league is a league where everybody you're trying to stay healthy, and it did LSU. LSU's rocking along, and you just can't get the wrong guys hurt, And Pinson gets hurt, and that's a huge part of their team offensively, and they still play very, very hard. It's well coached, but it's hard. We have fought it all year long, and with the kid who just got SEC Player of the Week, Freshman of the Week, Deshaun Ruffin was out for like 12 weeks with injuries and broke his hand the first game, missed the first 8 games. He's finally kind of getting into shape. And then, after the Memphis game, halftime, we had our leading rebounder, best defender out for the ACL. Then our leading scorer, Jarkel Joyner, has been out for the last month. And so we have just we fought it. And we've kind of now gotten a little bit more used to playing without those guys and Ruffin getting healthy. And our team's a fun team to coach. We struggle at times to score regarding, but it was a good win for us against Kansas State. He's had some success in the Big 12, and he was a good part of our guys. The first time Ole Miss, it was only my second Big 12 SEC Challenge game. It's the first time Ole Miss has ever won one, and it was a good part to be part of the winning league in that, which was great for the SEC.
Coach, you mentioned Deshaun Ruffin, and you could hear the respect that Wade had for him here a couple of minutes ago in talking about his game, a McDonald's All-American, and as you mentioned, making his way back to the lineup and is named SEC Freshman of the Week for his performance on over the past couple of days. What does he give your team, and talk about his skill set a little bit and kind of how he helps you on both ends of the floor?
Yeah, he's small, about 5'8", but he's in that class, in 21 class in high school, he was as fast with the ball, hard to keep in front of anybody in high school basketball. He's electric with the ball. Now we're trying to figure out, he's getting better, when not to. He can get the paint a lot, which we need tonight against LSU. LSU's got great interior defense, so you got to have great decision making of, out to 3-point shooters with paint touches. And so he, like I said, he's missed a lot of practice and games, and but right now he's starting to show some maturity. And with Jarkel Joyner out, he won't play tonight. Our leading scorer, who's kind of been playing some point too, maybe back in a couple of weeks. It's kind of been on his shoulders, and I'm really proud of his progress.
Coach, without giving away your game plan, what are the challenges that LSU presents to an opponent?
Yeah, right now, obviously their teams, they guard in a great way. They press, and they just make you run unconventional offense. And they do a great job with all their switching and doubling from the baseline. And, they got multiple guys. They don't give up. They do a great job. Interior defense. They protect the paint. So they really do. They're like, the teams that have struggled, you got to be able to take advantage of mismatches, whether it's inside, and they do a good job of doubling or driving. And then you can't play against a half-court defense, and you got to be able to get out of transition. It's one thing we haven't done great this year, Jordy, is get our hands on balls and get points off turnovers. That's something we've been doing in the past. So, because you need to get out in transition, LSU, and get some easy baskets like we all do.
Yeah.
But and again, they've got really, really good forwards, and Days, hasn't shot it great lately. He's always shot it good against us. Every time Ole Miss shows up, he makes shots. So, but he's been a great player for them and some of their newcomers. So, yeah, it's an NCAA tournament team, and just looks like another really good LSU squad.
Coach, the league features the number 1 team in the country in Auburn. Kentucky looks like they're playing like an elite squad right now. You mentioned LSU's a tournament team. From your point of view, somebody that's fighting this fight every single night, how good is this? How good is this league right now? You've seen it at different stages. How good is it right now?
Well, it's the best league in college basketball, in my opinion. And I'm just shocked when we look at it and they only have like maybe minority 6 teams in, and the other leagues have 8 and 9 teams. I never thought the SEC in basketball gets the respect that, Georgia can beat Alabama, Alabama beats Gonzaga, and Alabama beats Baylor.
Right.
And they don't give Georgia any credit. If that happens in the Big Ten, they say, oh, God, just look how good the Big Ten is. And so, they'll say, well, so-and-so played down the competition. It's just night in and night out in this league. You think about this league, Jordy, and about how it can happen. Think about this time last year. Auburn finished 11th. Kentucky was nowhere to be found. Texas A&M was 13th. And now look at the transformations. Auburn's number one. And those two teams definitely have chances to win the national championship. So, as fan bases kind of, it goes around all around in football and basketball. I mean, you can flip it in a year, with transfer portals and different things. And so, but the league is really, really good again. I think it's deserving of 8 or 9 teams. I sure hope that happens at the end.
I know Will Wade, and I know that you were all in the fight for Jabari Smith Jr. You recruited his dad. You coached his dad. When you see the evolution of the game, doesn't it kind of come through in Jabari Smith Jr.? Isn't his game very 2022 version of what a high elite prospect looks like? You having the relationship like you did with his dad, seeing that kid play now up and close?
Yeah, and then when you visit with the kid, and I'm sure Will said the same thing, and he's so mature beyond his years. He's not one of those guys trying to figure out how to work. His character is off the chart. So when you kind of get both a high talent level, he's got toughness, and now he's got basketball IQ, and he's willing to be able to be coached. A lot of times, as young guys, they just fight that so much early, just the immaturity and how hard it is, and doing the simple things day to day, over and over and over again. And it's something that he does, and that's why he's not going to be at Auburn for 1 year.
Yeah. Coach, one of the things that Coach Mulkey and that Coach Wade is fighting here is they're looking to upgrade their facilities to pitch in recruiting and to better the experience for their student athletes. You are playing in a new state-of-the-art arena. How has that helped you out in your day-to-day operations and your conversations with potential student athletes in living rooms and on official visits?
Yeah, Jordy, and Ole Miss, before I got there, I took my Middle Tennessee team to the Pavilion, and there's the first time when I played them, and I told AK, and Ross Bjork was the AD then, and I said, God, Ross, you just didn't miss anything. Because sometimes you build arenas and you say, God, in a year or two, you go, I wish I'd done that. They miss nothing. And it's not just because the arena we play in. What it is, it's an NBA. It's got premium seating in 3 different locations, where you can have an NBA experience of eating and drinks and before the game and halftime and after the games. And the size is perfect, 9,600. And so it really is. It's a wow factor when people come to Oxford and they step in the Pavilion. And I really do. There's a lot of great arenas and a lot of history, but I don't think there's a better on-campus arena in college basketball. And, Jordy, we don't have any concerts there. It's nothing. It is strictly basketball. It's men and women's basketball 24/7. So, you got it at any time, which is great for our players.
You are a great friend of John Brady. You guys spent so many years on the bench together at other schools besides LSU, but had a successful run at LSU. I know coming back to Baton Rouge is a pretty special time for you. How do you treat this trip? I know this one probably sticks out from some of the road trips that you make every single year.
Yeah, we had a great 5 years. I never had more fun, with John and Butch and Mike Girlando and Donnie Tender. We had a great time, and Baton Rouge is such a fun place. I still have my wife and I have so many friends, and I stay in close contact with John, and so it really is. It was fun for us, and John did such an unbelievable job, here, and kind of, taking over for a legendary coach like Coach Brown. And that's never easy to do. I don't care what sport you're in. And because Coach had done so many great things and how John built the program. And I'm just so glad that, John has such a great respect for Will and the job he's done, and that John can be back and be a part of LSU basketball and do the games on radio. And I hear nothing but just unbelievable things about the job that he does. So Baton Rouge is a cool place, and it'll always be great kind of memories for our family.
Coach Kerm, one of our favorites, man, as always. We appreciate your time. Best of luck to you and the Rebs tonight inside the Maravich Center. It should be a great bout at 8 o'clock tonight. We'll be in there, and I know a lot of people will be watching on the SEC Network. Thank you, as always, for stopping in.
All right. Thanks, Jordy. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. There he is, Coach Kermit Davis, checking in from the team hotel this morning as the Rebels and the Tigers get prepared to tip it off tonight. Don't forget our conversations are brought to you by Cajun Ready Mix Concrete. Cajun Ready Mix is online at CajunRMC.com. Get in touch with our friends over there about any project that you may have, whether it is municipal, industrial, commercial, residential. Cajun Ready Mix Concrete is ready for you. They provide ready mix concrete products and services to meet all of your concrete needs. As we said, they're online at Cajun Ready Mix, CajunRMC.com. They got 9 plant locations around the greater Baton Rouge area. You may say, what's that mean to me? Why do I care about that? It means if you order concrete, it's right here in the area. It's going to get to you on time, and it's going to be the exact specification. Get in touch with Cajun Ready Mix. As we said, it's no project too big or too small. They can help you out with repairing a driveway, or if you need to lay a new parking lot. They can do all of that. Residential, commercial, industrial, municipal. All of those projects are on the table over at Cajun Ready Mix. CajunRMC.com. We appreciate Coach Kermit Davis and Coach Will Wade for stopping by here in the first hour of the show.
Where are they staying? Where's
to
the
get a
team
preview?
hotel?
I'd imagine they probably stay at the Marriott over there by Sullivan's.
They don't do the cook? Is that just
LSU
home?
does.
Yeah, that's just home teams.
You're asking LSU's team hotel or the visiting teams?
Just both.
I'd imagine that LSU's allowed cook.
Is that weird that they still stay in hotels for this?
I think so.
I think so
I mean,
too.
maybe you got to trust the boys a little bit.
You go
Yeah.
through so much trouble of like housing them.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like moving them into a certain place. It's like on game day. I mean, can't we just trust that they're going to be fine? I mean,
Who was your boy?
Clearly
Wait,
not.
who was the boy for the 30 for 30 on the Celtics? The white point guard that would stay out quite a bit. He had the cocaine problem.
Okay.
He would
Yes.
do cocaine all
Yes,
night
yes.
and then show up and drop 30 in an NBA game, and he's like, "Well,
Sure.
this is how I want to do it."
well, that sounds
You're
like,
yeah.
that sounds like the NBA of the '70s.
Yeah.
In the early '80s. I mean,
Let him do
remember? I mean, Jordan was on the Last
the,
Dance.
the cocaine traveling circus.
Yeah, the cocaine. What's his name?
Chris
Yeah,
Herron.
Chris Herron.
Yes, the great 30 for 30. I didn't see no cocaine.
Yeah, right.
Jam
It was a
Bright
great.
Michael.
It was a great 30 for 30.
It is.
Guy
I
could
haven't
hoop.
seen that one.
Good hoop.
He could hoop, man.
Alabama plays Auburn tonight, right?
Alabama
Also?
plays Auburn. There's really
Yeah.
good SEC basketball games. Alabama
What time
plays
are they?
Auburn. I think they're the primetime matchup.
Maybe 7. Is that 7?
And this one's at Auburn.
Is Alabama the most unpredictable team in the country right
Yes.
Feels like it.
now? I mean, right?
I mean, not only did they have some of the best wins of the season, they've got
Yeah,
some of the
Gonzaga and
ugliest
Baylor.
losses of the season. I mean, they lost to
Georgia,
Missouri.
Memphis.
Yeah, I
What are you
mean,
doing over there? How do you know
bizarre.
all this?
yeah. What's going on with
Well,
you?
I
reading
work
the
on a
schedule?
sports talk show, and I have articles pulled up all the time with facts
It
for
would be
me
nice
to
if they were in the
have.
document.
Nothing I ever send you goes into the document.
She
so I
texted
quit
it to me in my
trying.
phone. She's like, "Well, this could go to the document." Like, or you could just put it in there.
I don't know how. Where is it now?
We need a team meeting for this
We
document.
do need a team meeting. Let's do this off air.
Stewie seemed to figure it out pretty quickly.
Did you? Good.
Stewie's an all-star.
Good. Have it.
Stewie, start writing your lane over there.
Get on the whiteboard.
Document.
Document.
People asking about recruiting here on this. Like, I mean, like, I don't know what you want to learn today. Like, I mean, tomorrow is National Signing Day. I don't know what we're going to learn today that we didn't talk about yesterday with Embody. I mean, right now you're just in this sitting and waiting and
Feels so weird on National Signing Day and not really expecting it to pop, right? It's
right?
just like
well, it
Yeah.
could pop.
it could, but
it
it
could pop for
doesn't feel
LSU.
the same.
Not
And
a
after our
catfish town.
conversation yesterday, it's just not that same feeling.
I
'cause
know.
It could be though.
If you were to
That sounds so
experience
fun.
one signing day at Catfish Town, you know that they would never be the same.
I'll never know
We should
that.
do it at Superior with Shay Dixon.
We should.
Is that where Shay's going to be?
I mean,
Surely, right?
Surely.
Where else is
I mean,
it
at
gonna
some
be?
point.
At some point.
At some point.
Yeah, we should do it.
All right, so everybody's going to be watching Trevante Citizen. Everybody's going to be watching Harold Perkins. Everybody's going to be watching Jacoby Matthews. It seems like these battles are going to be between Florida, LSU, and Texas A&M. Specifically, Harold Perkins and Jacoby Matthews feels like it's going to come down to those three. Trevante Citizen is going to be LSU and Auburn. One thing that we know on Auburn's side is that they have done a tremendous job of building, maintaining a relationship with Trevante Citizen, his family, throughout this recruiting process. Cadillac Williams deserves a ton of credit for really making Auburn relevant during this recruitment. Kevin Falk had established a really good relationship with LSU, with Trevante Citizen for LSU. Now, there was a coaching change made late in the process that set LSU back, but overnight, you've got one of the wizards in recruiting, one of the best to ever do it in the state of Louisiana, one of the best to ever do it in college football, and Frank Wilson heading up the recruiting battles for LSU. He's the running backs coach. He's the guy that has all the relationships. He was housed down in Southwest Louisiana for the past couple of years, 2 years, coaching McNeese. Trevante Citizen was in Lake Charles, is from Lake Charles. As soon as Frank Wilson was named associate head coach of the LSU football program, his first stop was to Trevante Citizen's high school, spent time with him, and since then has been building a relationship that hopefully Trevante Citizen and his family over the next 24 hours feel like they can trust for the next 3 to 5 years. That's what LSU's selling. That's what they're trying to get. LSU feels like they have made up tremendous amount of ground on Trevante Citizen. Both Frank Wilson, Brian Kelly, Mike Denbrock, the entire offensive staff have all met with Trevante Citizen at some point over the last couple of weeks. They have pitched their message. Citizen and his crew know exactly how much Citizen means to the future of the LSU running backs room. Now it's all about just establishing and building and maintaining the relationship that Citizen has been saying that he wants in recruitment. That's what he wants. Best relationship wins. That's what he says. Cadillac Williams has done a great job. Can LSU, Wilson, and the crew repair the ground that's been made up or lost since Falk was fired and make that up before tomorrow? That's the biggest question on Citizen. When it comes down to Matthews, I think that LSU is sitting in the driver's seat with Jacoby Matthews. From the people that we have spoke with, you heard Billy Embody yesterday. We've talked to other recruiting talking heads. Spoke to some people at LSU. Jacoby Matthews seems like he is in a phenomenal spot in understanding what LSU or what he means to LSU. I don't think that there's any secret from LSU's point of view about how bad they want Matthews, how impactful Matthews can be pretty quickly on the field for LSU's defense. And there's some NIL stuff behind the scenes that they're trying to get the deal done.
I wonder what that is.
Gordon.
Oh.
Is he the only one?
Is he the only one?
Where's
he's
Todd,
the only
Todd
one
on this?
I don't think he's the only
Who's
one.
Todd?
Graves.
Oh.
Because you saw that the Texas, what they're doing with Tito's, they've partnered up to make NIL deals. So it seems like that's right. If
Tito's vodka?
Uh-huh.
Really?
So if they want to partner up with Texas, why can't we go the fast food route? I mean, we got a guy right there. He's right across the river. He's right across the man-made lake.
That's right. I don't know.
He's just sitting in his house.
Just that's all he's doing.
Let's get Todd in
just
on this
sitting
thing.
in his house.
But where do you think? I mean, obviously, if there's one more left on the board, I think it's the biggest wild card.
Harold Perkins.
Yes. Uncle Al, Uncle Kev,
and Mama Perkins.
Mama.
And look, the people around Perkins
are telling him
don't
this
even
way
know.
you're going.
Don't even know like where he's going to go. People around LSU's camp. They're like, I don't know what else we could do. You know what I mean? We've made.
You won't know until he's on campus. Until
Right.
it feels like a little bit like Zach Evans. What, 2 years ago or last year with TCU, and LSU was in the mix at running back. Now he's went to TCU and transfers over to Ole Miss. Like, it's got that feel to it where he doesn't really know where he wants to go either. And now you're out of time.
Maybe
we're
he
late.
does know, and he's just pulling the wool over our eyes.
Oh, he definitely knows.
You think he knows?
Yes, he knows. He knows.
And he's not telling his family?
He's not telling certain members of his family for sure.
Why would you?
I mean,
after what we've seen.
You kidding?
can't.
I mean, after
Don't you listen to him?
just some of the things that we have noticed, right? I mean, like,
Where's that show phone?
I mean, it's crazy. All right, so let's get to the patch me in here, please, if you don't mind.
To the baby?
Ben Baby.
Not the baby.
The baby.
Or da baby.
The baby got drama.
Da baby?
What happened?
Ben, good morning. How are you? It's Jordy. We're live. Sorry.
Hey, how's it going, Jordy? Doing all right?
You doing all right, man? I know it's a very busy time for you. Things are crazy right now in Cincinnati. Obviously, the Bengals advance to Super Bowl 56. Ben, take me to Cincinnati, man. What is life like in that city right now? People have to be walking on clouds.
Yeah, well, they're walking on clouds, probably some broken bottles, a lot of whatever's left of the celebration.
Are they walking?
Some of them may still need a couple days to recover. I mean, I'll tell you what, the city's just been incredible when you look at it. Zach, there was a throng of people who were waiting for the Bengals to come back to Paul Brown Stadium. Zach Taylor, pointed that out and said how cool that was. And then he went home, and I guess there was like a couple lawn parties out in his neighborhood because people were just waiting for him to come home, and they cheered him on as he kind of walked in and kind of reconvened with his family after the game. So I think that the sentiment around here is just there's a lot of civic pride. Cincinnati Public Schools, the biggest school district, in the city, they basically said, we're going to have Monday off regardless. We think we're going to win, so we're going to celebrate that Monday. And to be honest, I'll tell you what the most interesting thing is, and kind of tells you what it's like here. In 2019, when I first got here, there was nobody at any of these games. This is pre-pandemic. The Bengals were atrocious. You just looked around, and if they weren't playing a team that had a good traveling fan base, there was going to be nobody in the stands. And as you walked around the city, you didn't really see a whole lot of people wearing Bengals gear. And even at the beginning of this season, I didn't really see it a lot. And I thought that was kind of fascinating. And, yesterday when I was flying back from Kansas City, it's like everywhere I looked in the airports and anywhere I'm around town, I'm at the gym, wherever, everybody's wearing Bengals gear all of a sudden. And I think that's maybe the most surprising thing. It's like this city, essentially, they have lost so much faith and trust that the Bengals can deliver a winner, that they've eroded a lot of their fan base over the last several decades. And this year has gone a long way, and you're seeing a sense of pride in the franchise that hasn't existed in a very long time.
It's incredible what they accomplished versus Kansas City alone, right? I mean, to beat that team twice in a month at home, then travel into Arrowhead like they did with so much on the line. What did that tell you about this team, this franchise?
Listen, I think you got to give a lot of credit to that coaching staff and two guys really in particular, and Zach Taylor and Lou Anarumo. Let's be quite honest, they outcoached Andy Reid. And if you would have thought that at the beginning of the season, I think a lot of people would have thought you were crazy. Because a lot of people thought those guys shouldn't even be on staff and have jobs with the Bengals anymore. But when you look at what happened in those two games, and when we all watched the Buffalo-Kansas City game, we know what Kansas City's capable of. And the Bengals beat Kansas City twice in the exact same way. That's the most crazy thing about all of this. They were basically on the verge of getting blown out in the first half in both of those games. I was in a group text, and I said, this might be ugly. As the Kansas City started rolling, all of a sudden the Bengals get a little bit of momentum. They get a touchdown out of thin air. They get something good happen at the end of the first half. The second half rolls around, and Kansas City looks like, they're just completely stuck in the mud. And I want to put this in perspective. Kansas City has one of the best offenses we've probably ever seen, one of the most explosive offenses currently in today's game. In 4 second-half quarters, Kansas City failed to score a touchdown against the Bengals.
Damn.
That is just utterly absurd. And the fact that they were able to do that says that the first game wasn't a fluke, and the fact that the Bengals are in this game aren't a fluke. I think the coaching staff has done a good job of working around kind of the inefficiencies and figuring out ways to make adjustments on the fly and be better. I looked at our ESPN stats and info. The second half split, their point differential, I believe, is the 6th best for any team entering a Super Bowl. When you look at it, Zach Taylor basically had a game call around, play call around an offensive line that hasn't been able to protect Joe Burrow adequately for long enough pass reps throughout the entire season. You saw them basically trying to run the ball a lot, pick their shots, and get points where they could. So it's just really remarkable that the Bengals have been able to win this way, and now they're one game away from winning it all.
How do they handle the schedule? How are they going to do this?
I don't think they know. I mean, I haven't even got a media schedule yet from their communication staff, so I don't know if they know what's going on here. I think Zach Taylor said that they're still mapping out what it's going to look like. Now, Zach obviously has experience playing in this kind of game. Was on staff with the Rams in 2019 when they played in the Super Bowl. Then that was his last game before he joined the Bengals as their head coach. But right now, I think it's still looking slightly fluid. I would imagine they'll probably finalize things here pretty soon. We'll talk to the coordinators here later on today, and we'll get a sense of what this week might look like for them.
I think Burrow, the Bengals, have this feeling now it doesn't matter where they play, who they play, they've got a shot. But when you look at this matchup between the offensive line of the Rams, who have struggled throughout the season and tremendously in the playoffs, against Aaron Donald, Von Miller, and crew, how scary is this matchup from Cincinnati's point of view?
Man, I would hate to be a Bengals coach this week, and especially as an offensive line coach, Frank Pollock, because I would imagine he might be losing a little bit of sleep trying to block that front with Von Miller and Aaron Donald. Like you said, those two guys are incredible. And to be quite honest, and we'll probably write this after, if the Bengals don't end up winning, it's a sign of what the strategy was. The Rams said, we feel like we can win. And what did they do? They went out and they got Von Miller. They said, we're going to go do this. We feel like we've got a good team that can win it all. We're going to do this. The Bengals, on the other hand, had one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL last year. And what they did was they drafted a guard in the second round, hoped that he would start. It didn't really work out that way. And to be quite fair to Jackson Carman, he played tackle at Clemson, left tackle. They moved him to right guard this year. And making that adjustment is actually incredibly difficult. Not just moving positions, but going from college to the pros and playing well early. I mean, even Penei Sewell, we saw him struggle before he really started to get a feel of things as he adjusted. So that's a big ask. And then the Riley Reif, right tackle, was really the only veteran addition they made in the offseason. And then he got hurt, and then you're having to plug and play guys. And the fact that the Bengals right now, Jordy, let me put this in perspective. They have all their starting right guard options healthy for this year, for the Super Bowl game. They don't know who their starting right guard is going to be.
Wow.
That's all you got to know. And the fact that they're in the Super Bowl, I'll be quite honest. I was actually in the process of looking up the numbers right now. I know I've been on a heater this morning. It's just been one of those mornings. But this is the accuracy of the situation here. I think it's a testament to Joe Burrow's greatness that the Bengals are even playing for a Super Bowl, because the amount of times this guy's been sacked, that he's been hit, that he's had to evade pressures, and yet the Bengals are still a game away from hosting the Lombardi Trophy. It is just incredible. And Burrow has this innate ability to bring everybody else up around him. And despite the circumstances that he's presented with, he's able to find a way to make the best of the situation and then succeed and thrive. And very few humans on the planet can do this. So, the Bengals are going to have to find a way to scheme around. Going back to the initial question before I just went on a tangent here. The Bengals have to find a way to get around that defensive line because they're going to bring a lot of pressure. And we may see a conservative approach where the Bengals try to pick their shots and limit the amount of damage. Because you got to remember, you want to keep Burrow healthy for next year too.
Yeah, for sure. Did you hear Brady and Burrow's conversation on the latest podcast? Let's Go.
Yeah, I did. And Tom talked about that toughness, and I have to imagine that had to be really cool for Joe to be on there. Just a couple years ago, you're sitting there, winning a national championship with LSU, hoping to go number one. You got OBJ in the locker room celebrating with you. Now you're going to be playing against OBJ in the Super Bowl, and you're going on Tom Brady's podcast in one of the biggest weeks of his life, as ESPN's reported that he will retire. It is just, that's got to be a lot going on. And Joe kind of, I asked him about that after the game because LeBron was tweeting at him and saying, hey, he's basically a bad dude. And he can play. And, for Joe, who grew up LeBron was one of his heroes. I said, Joe, we've all seen the picture of you in the mirror wearing the jersey. So obviously we know you're a LeBron fan. And he said, the football part isn't surreal. Like going to the Super Bowl, that's not surreal. But for LeBron to be talking about me, and for Kid Cudi, who I love, to be hitting me up before the game, like that is surreal. And I think that had to be a cool moment. And for Joe, going on Brady's podcast, I think it was a lot of recognized game. And I think a lot of quarterbacks have even since Joe was in the pre-draft process, have said this guy has something truly special, and we're seeing that play out.
Ben flexing on him as well with the journalistic questions, with the follow-up on Kid Cudi and the playlist, I thought was excellent journalism by you in the moment. What have you learned about Joe? How cool this guy is? Because I think even his answer to Dennis Dodd was great when Dodd's asked him if the jewels were fake, and he laughed it off, and he said, I make way too much money for these to be fake. Are you kidding me? And then you and him going back and forth on the Kid Cudi stuff. You have covered a lot of subjects. You have covered a lot of football. You have covered a lot of sports. How cool is Joey?
Yeah, I think he's a pretty cool guy. I think that's might be an understatement as well. He just has a innate sense of just kind of what he likes to do. And I think the biggest thing, Burrow is just comfortable in his own skin. And it's not a inauthentic cool. Like, we've been around a lot of people who like fake being cool, or like don't really know how to be cool, and they try to manufacture it in weird ways. Like, I'm from Dallas. Like, people they just try to spend money in ways to attempt to be cool, and they will max out credit cards in an effort to do that. My boy Billy Embody down there probably knows a ton of folks. Right. All his friend crew probably, because he went to SMU. That's what they do for a living. So, I'll be sure to text Billy and let him know that I've been throwing shade as a North Texas grad. But no, I mean, and that's the thing, is that Joe he's not like that. Like, Joe doesn't need to, like, he doesn't have a perception of what other people think, he has to fit. Joe is just Joe. And what he finds cool, like the glasses, like, if they were Cartiers or not or whatever after one of the pluses against the Las Vegas win. He said, I think they're cool. Don't you? And same thing with the chain. Like, I know his jeweler, Leo Frost out of Houston. I said, basically, Joe Burrow's the NFL's Paul Wall. And I could probably, we can go on that for a while. But, Leo's been working on him on a ton of pieces, and that's a custom JB9 piece that they wanted to do. And so I know for a fact that those diamonds are real because Leo does not do fake stuff. There's no cubic zirconium running around in that jewelry shop. That's how you get run out of Houston, to be quite honest. And so I think that Joe has always had a sense of what he likes, and that's all that matters to Joe. It doesn't matter what you like. It doesn't matter what you think. It matters what I think, and if I like it, I'm going to ride it, and there's a confidence that comes with that. And to be quite honest, the way that's why this team has kind of picked up that confidence as well, because it's genuine. Like, you can sniff out fake confidence, and that doesn't exist with Burrow.
I hate to turn you into a wise guy, but 4.5 points in this game. Like I said, it feels like where Joey and the Bengals play, they've always got a shot. How do you feel about this matchup a little over a week and a half out?
Listen, I got roasted for Bengals fans for not picking the Bengals as 7-point underdogs. The audacity of me, I know. It's for me to take Kansas City, but I think that we've seen enough. I think at this point, I think it'd be foolish to almost bet against them because for whatever reason they've defied the odds this year. I thought they haven't played great for a lot of the season. I think they've gotten hot at the right time. There is a lot of value in that. And I believe that I think that the Bengals are playing pretty well. And the Rams, they're a pretty tough matchup. I mean, across the board, Cooper Kupp, OBJ, Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay, you go down, we already talked about the defense. We didn't even mention Jalen Ramsey yet, in that matchup, what that's going to be like. There's a lot of talent. The Rams have built a very strong team, but the Bengals have played pretty well throughout the year. And what's one more win on the road, one more upset for them? Like I said, with Burrow, you feel like nothing is off the table. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll take the Bengals, to be quite honest. I feel pretty good saying that early in the week. I mean, at this point, you've seen enough. And all year, Zach Taylor and the players have said, there's a special feeling inside this locker room, and we feel like, this is a really good team. And I wrote this for ESPN when we had our early picks. I said, maybe it's time we just listen to the Bengals and we just take their word for it because, I mean, they've proven it. They're AFC champions, and we didn't think that they were going to be this good, but they did. So, maybe they know a little bit better than us, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Ben Baby, ESPN's insider for the Cincinnati Bengals, does great work over there. Make sure you're following him on Twitter. Ben, before we get you out of here, one more. Andrew Whitworth, the storyline for him, a chance to play his team, his former team in Cincinnati, who he was drafted by and spent the bulk of his career with, to possibly close out his career in a Super Bowl game versus the Bengals as a Los Angeles Ram. What's the feeling around Whitworth in the city of Cincinnati? And is that a storyline yet? Or are people talking about that?
People have been talking about Andrew Whitworth since the moment he left Cincinnati, to be quite honest. I mean, I feel like a lot of people believe that was really the beginning of the bad years and the start of something bad whenever he left after the 2015 season. Bengals just were unable to find a starting left tackle since then. Jonah Williams has stepped up, and they really like Jonah. I think that's a big reason why they went with Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell, is they felt like Jonah could do a lot of good things for them and play at that spot, and be a starter at that spot for several years. But Whitworth, I think there was a lot of the fans were not happy with the ownership in town. The fact that Whitworth was able to go. And then I think it's probably been, a knife wound for them to continue to see Whitworth doing really well in Los Angeles. So I don't think that people are upset necessarily with Whitworth and how things shook out there. Cause I think, that was before I got here, but I would, I've always had the sense that Whitworth would have stayed had the Bengals, paid him accordingly, which is, like Andrew should get every dollar he's worth. And he's proven to be that. I mean, look at what he's done at his age, be starting left tackle in the NFL right now. It's truly remarkable, but a very fascinating storyline. I'm sure he'll be torn a little bit, if he ends up beating the Bengals. But no, it'll be something to watch. It's going to be a very fascinating matchup for a lot of different reasons.
Ben_baby on Twitter is where you follow him on social media. Be a great follow leading up to the Super Bowl, and he's got great insight on not only Joey and Jam, but the entire Cincinnati Bengals Super Bowl run as they will kick it off versus the Rams in Super Bowl 56 at SoFi Stadium a week from Sunday. We will touch base before that kickoff, Ben. Thank you, as always, for the insight and time.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you all for having me.
All right, man. There he is, Ben Baby, checking in from Cincinnati this morning as he'll be out in Los Angeles taking on that beat for the Bengals and Super Bowl 56.
closet rap guy. It seems
Yeah.
like
It does
Yeah.
seem like
seemed like
that.
he
Very
was
much
very
so.
into having a little rap
Very
conversation.
much
Does
so.
seem like
Little
that.
what?
Great get a beer with guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Ah,
Great.
yes.
Like, got a lot of good, almost just like content where you're like, look at the brain on Ben Baby,
Baby.
dude.
Big
dude,
trivia
dude,
guy?
This guy.
He knows
Yeah.
it all.
He does. He kind of has that feeling of he's dominant in all spaces. And once he gets confident in a flow like he's on this morning, like you could feel it. He'd been up since 6, couple of coffees in. It sounded like. I mean, he was just spitting out facts
just
and
a
He
stats.
always
article
does.
article on the way, no
Yeah,
doubt.
absolutely.
So if the Bengals are the home team in the Rams stadium, do they use the Rams locker room?
They do.
They do.
They do.
That
The
seems
Ram-
wrong, right?
The Rams will be dressing in the opposing locker room.
Doesn't that seem so strange?
It comes along with hosting Super Bowls.
Yes.
You know.
I would imagine that's
So
just,
if it rotates between NFC and AFC, Tommy and the Bucks had their home locker room last year.
how comfortable can you be?
I
Yeah,
mean,
that's gotta
good
make a difference,
Lord,
right?
man.
A little bit of difference.
Yeah, you're driving to the stadium. It's like a home game.
Yeah. That
All
seems
right,
weird.
we're going to talk to Will Clapp here about the New Orleans Saints and what could be next from somebody who's inside that locker room and on that roster. Remember, Daily, we are brought to you by Relief Med. Dropped off a new little product to Lloyd yesterday.
Little popcorn nugs, dude.
A little popcorn, a little grease monkey
Yes.
popcorn.
Sampled it last night.
that,
See what
that
dipping
Lizzie-
my toes in.
Lizzie is going to break down and
Review.
give to the internet as a review from our friends over at Relief Med. You can pick up your plant today if you call or get in touch with Relief Med and get your recommendation from a medical doctor online at RELEAFmed.com. Another promo code that you can use here to save yourself 20% off of the initial purchase.
That's a lot.
Jordy1. All it is, Jordy1 is the promo code. Type that in. You'll receive 20% off of your initial purchase from there at Relief Med, and it is a lot to take off 20% off the top, whether you're picking up a tincture or a gummy, or like now you can pick up the flour.
Popcorn flour. I mean, who doesn't trust this doctor?
I
Seriously.
know.
I mean,
He's
I want to get a
hot.
drink with him.
I do too.
I bet.
I mean, really and truly.
His eyes are staring into my soul.
There's no way
He's got a great smile, too.
I bet he's a doctor. He's a lawyer.
Very comfortable
He's
arm.
all of
Yeah,
it.
he's all
Very
of it.
comfortable arm fold.
Yeah.
Smile,
Walk right over here.
which could, sometimes can be a
Let
little
me listen to your
cringy.
heart.
Right.
You do need marijuana.
Sure. Do I need to take my shirt off? You need direct access, Doc. I got a promo code. I got a promo code you can
What's
use.
that stethoscope do?
Where's the X-ray machine?
Look at this guy.
Jordy1 is the promo code.
around his ID.
Jordy1 medical marijuana. Pick up your recommendation today from that silver-headed fox, Doc.
He has really dark sideburns though to be salt and pepper everywhere else, right?
Nice
Oh,
pickup there,
you think he
Katie.
added
Doesn't
the
that
salt
seem
and pepper?
weird?
Wow.
I don't know. I think that looks odd.
No way that he dyes the burns, huh? I
Just
mean,
the burns.
what a play.
So gross.
What
Never
a play.
mind. If that's what you do, never
First
mind.
date you walk
Golly.
in and he's just dying. For 1 second, Katie, I'll
From
be out.
hot,
my
from
God.
hot to thought, just
From
like
hot to
that.
not.
Just like
From
that.
hot to thought, just like that.
You don't even get your hands on it.
Sorry, Doc. I'm
Small
putting my
hands.
shirt back on. I'll check my own heart rate.
Okay, I just fact checked myself, and SoFi Stadium has separate home locker rooms on opposite sides of the stadium for the Chargers and the Rams. So that makes sense.
Say it again.
Does it not make sense?
Say it again.
SoFi Stadium has separate home locker rooms.
yeah, they do, 'cause
on
they have two home
separate si-
teams.
yeah, because they have the Chargers and the Rams.
Two home teams.
This
So
LA
it
stuff
won't be
is-
that big a
SoFi,
deal.
dude.
Won't be that big a
Dude,
deal.
I'm going to this.
Yeah, that's your locker room right
Nobody
there.
worry. We got
I'm
to
going
figure
to
it out.
SoFi, man. That turf stinks. Everybody's getting hurt every time they play in SoFi. There's going to be at least some injury in the
Oh,
Super
Lloyd,
Bowl.
now there
I
is.
know, but I'm just saying, dude. Like I've watched a bunch of games at SoFi this year.
Yeah.
That seems like a big Rams guy, apparently.
Wow.
I know, are you?
TB12 calls it official. He has just retired
No way.
officially. Tom Brady just posted on his Instagram account.
God damn it, Schefter.
I have always believed the sport of football is an all-in proposition. If a 100% competitive commitment isn't there, you won't succeed, and success is what I love so much about our game. There is a physical, mental, and emotional challenge every single day that has allowed me to maximize my highest potential. And I have tried my very best these past 22 years. There are no shortcuts to success on the field or in life. This is difficult for me to write, but here it goes. I am not going to make that competitive commitment anymore. I have loved my NFL career, and now is the time to focus my time and energy on other things that require my attention. This goes on. Does this go on?
Oh my God, it's so long, Tom.
Oh God, I can't.
Put a book. You can't read all this, Jordy. This would be the rest of the show.
I can't do this.
Tom posted that at 8:35, and then Schefter tweeted.
Hang on. Let me get you some mic power over there.
There we go.
All right, try it now.
Tom posted that at
Good
8.
sound.
At
Yeah.
8:35.
Hello, Noah.
Schefter tweets right after a minute.
Told you so.
Oh my gosh, really?
Who is more excited this morning than Adam Schefter?
Jeez. He's relieved.
Schefter is running.
What he is.
He's cutting laps across ESPN's campus right now.
Jeez.
He is streaking in a blizzard with his shirt off.
Did Schefter make Tom Brady retire?
I think he
Then you're
retired him a
asking.
little too early.
I think that's still my thing. I think he got in
But
front
now,
of Tom.
but now it's all good on Schefter because Schefter had the right information.
well, of course
He
knew.
pissed Brady off, and Brady just pushed back the, announcement a couple of days. But from Schefter's point of view, like in his negotiation now that he's a free agent on the market, he can. I had the story right the whole time. You can talk about me all you want, but the entire time I told you he was going to retire, and 48 hours after y'all thought I flubbed it, he announced he was walking away from the game.
I don't think that people thought that he flubbed it. I think people are pissed at him for not letting Tom live.
Yeah.
Like you got to let
I don't
Tom
know.
announce.
I don't know if people are. I think Tom was.
Yeah.
He
for
said
sure.
it. You could tell the way that he talked about it in the podcast. He was a little bit like, people have to do their job, and I know everybody wants to be first because he knew the information was right. He got it from one of Tom's guys.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to let Tom do this on his own. I didn't know he was
Yeah.
going to release a 15-page article
He
about
has
it.
to
but-
now.
Buddy,
What's going on, dude?
how we feeling?
I'm great.
Where's that
Where
trivia?
is it? Where's it coming from?
Oh, the doctor.
Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. As we are daily brought to you by our guys down there at Go Chevrolet. Stop in and see Lee Carney and Nick Richard. Go Express Auto Sales here in Baton Rouge and Go Chevrolet Automotive out in LaPlace, Louisiana. It's been a great show. We talked to Kermit Davis of Ole Miss basketball. We talked to Will Wade of LSU basketball. We talked to Ben Baby of ESPN.com, who covers the Bengals. And now we go to a great friend of our show, a man who has had a jersey and been represented on the Jordy Culotta Show since day one.
Still here.
Still has the flag flying as we are still waving the Clapp jersey. Big 64 here on the wall as he has been a part of the show since we originated over a year ago. And it is great to bring him back into the conversation on the day that Tom Brady officially announces that he is walking away from the sport of football. We welcome in one of Louisiana's favorite football sons, Will Clapp. Willie, good morning. How are you, buddy?
What's going on, brother?
Doing good,
Long time.
man. Yeah, it's been too long, man. Congratulations on everything, bro. The addition, the success. It's been too long. When did we get you in studio?
Bro, we got to make it happen soon. I need to come see the undisclosed location.
Yes, you do, Willie. All right, so big news around the New Orleans Saints the past couple of days. Sean, before we get there, you are a part of the NFL. You have had wars against Tom Brady, both as a Patriot and as a Buck. What do you make of him announcing that he is officially walking away from football in 22 years in the sport?
That was just crazy. You lose another, all-time great. It seems, it's kind of a, new era for quarterbacks. Drew, Brady, Rivers, Roethlisberger, all those guys, retired recently. It's, we're losing a lot of really great quarterbacks that, personally I grew up watching and admiring. So it's, it's going to be a different time in the NFL, but, that dude's obviously one of the best of all time. And, obviously Saints fans are probably glad he's retiring now that he's out of the NFC South.
How cool was it to be a part of some of those Brady-Breeze matchups where you could see those two kind of weighing how big it was, not only versus their franchises, but really kind of for their individual point of views? How cool was it to be a part of some of those matchups?
Yeah, all those games are super special to be on the field. I remember we started off, what was it, last year? We started the season off against Tampa, and we were able to get that win. Obviously for watching two great quarterbacks go at it like that, it's something special to be on the field for and play in that game. And I've been real lucky in my career to be able to be in some of those matchups.
The other big news that is dominating the NFL world is that Sean Payton has decided to hang it up after 16 seasons in New Orleans. One of the best, most successful runs as a head coach with one franchise. You were drafted by Payton. You have played a ton of football for Sean Payton. What impact did he have on your football life?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, just super thankful to Sean. I mean, he was able to allow me to continue my career in Louisiana. I've played my entire football career in Baton Rouge and New Orleans. It's been a huge blessing, and he was able to make it happen for me. He kept me around, developed me. Times when I thought I wasn't playing my best ball, they stuck with me, and he just kept giving me the chance to, show what I can do, improve, and make the team and help where I could.
Any great stories about Peyton? Some of those conversations? I mean, from the outside looking in, he feels like one of the best that's ever done it. Obviously, the turnaround in New Orleans speaks for itself, but as far as the entire NFL game goes, for a while, he always felt like the best coach in the game up there with Belichick. As somebody who played for him, did you guys feel that? Did you feel that?
For sure. I mean, Sean's honestly just one of the most gifted play callers the NFL scene. The way he can game plan and predict things. I mean, we'll be in meetings and the coach will be like, "Hey, Sean thinks this is going to happen this way, this certain coverage, and we're going to hit it right here." And in the game, sure enough, that's what happens. Sean sets up these plays, and the way he's able to foresee the game and how it unfolds is special, and that's what made him obviously one of the greatest football minds. And then a kind of completely different side, his ability to build a culture. And when he got to the Saints, that culture wasn't there, and he brought it in. And I think the way that it's set up now, whoever they hire next is coming into a great locker room, great leaders, foundation's been set. And I think that's all because of Sean and his vision, his ability to build a team and lead it.
That offensive mind you speak about, that prowess with his brains as a football mind, he'll be great in TV, right? If he chooses to do that.
Yeah, his personality and his ability to elaborate on things that probably the average fan wouldn't know in a football game is obviously going to be great. But I think he'll be a great analyst, and his personality. I mean, you see him in the locker room interacting with guys. I mean, he does such a great job. He keeps it fun. He keeps it light. Always a good laugh in the team meeting, stuff like that. He'll do great in that aspect if he chooses to go that route.
Yeah. You think he coaches again?
That I do not know. He seemed like he really wanted a break, and who knows on the next chapter of his life. You never know what happens. I do think it's best for the NFL if he's coaching just because how great he is. But I'll never speak for him because he's such a great coach, and he's going to do what's best for him and his family.
You played a lot of football this year. You've played a lot of football over the past couple of years for him, but you've played a lot. You played a lot this season. I know that you were up, you were down, but when you were on the field, you obviously had a role that they were using you in. Where are you in your life of football right now? Where are you in this offseason? I know that it's been a hell of a run with New Orleans, but where are you? What's next? What's on the horizon?
So I'm a free agent this offseason, unrestricted. Right now, season just ended a few weeks ago, so I've just been taking some time, heal up, spend time with my wife and daughter, and really haven't even talked to my agent yet about anything that's going to come next. Let the season finish out and see what comes up. But we'll evaluate once the free agency starts and see where it takes us. Been super blessed to be in New Orleans for 4 years. That coaching staff's been great. They've really helped me develop as a player. I mean, I remember my rookie mini camp. I was like, damn, I'm the worst player that they probably ever seen. I mean, I felt like I was relearning football when I got to the Saints. I mean, just learning the playbook, pace, the speed of the game. It took me a little bit, and they stuck with me, and I've been able to be around for 4 years.
Yes, Willie Clapp. New Orleans Saint offensive lineman right now, unrestricted free agent in the NFL. Great friend of the show and a fantastic bogeys chaperone. Ooh. If you were ever looking for one. One of the best. or at least one of the good nights that I had, plus 35 at Bogies,
Protect
was
you.
showing up with the LSU offensive captain of the team. Good things happening around LSU football. Do you feel that from your point of view? You're one of the greats to come through this program. They're changing a lot of things up. It looks and feels very different from the days that you were here, even coming back and hanging out. What do you feel from your point of view that's happening with LSU?
I like a lot of what's happening. I mean, I like the Brian Kelly hire. What he's doing in the transfer portal right now seems phenomenal. And then on the recruiting trail too. I'm excited to see what they can get done. Excited to see what that quarterback competition is going to look like. I think they got 3 really good ones in the room right now. But I'm hoping they'll obviously turn things around. Last 2 seasons isn't what you want from LSU, and obviously a lot of injuries and guys going pro. It's hard to keep a successful product on the field. But I'm hoping Brian Kelly can get this thing turned around, because obviously he's just been a winner everywhere he goes.
What does Andrew Whitworth mean to a former LSU offensive lineman? A guy like him getting a chance to play in the Super Bowl again at 40 years old, and somebody that played on that offensive line at LSU. What does Andrew Whitworth mean to guys like you?
Honestly, he's one of the guys you look up to. When I was at LSU, they brought him in a couple times to talk to the offensive line. He's a guy that always came in and gave great advice. A person I've always looked up to. I mean, it's funny. I have a picture. I don't even know where it's at anymore. But when I was like a little kid, he had just gotten drafted by the Bengals, and I was at an LSU game. He was there too, and I have a picture next to him. He's like obviously dwarfing me, and I'm looking up at him. I mean, it's a funny picture because my second year in the NFL, we played against the Rams. I talked to him after the game. Super nice guy, and it's just kind of crazy, but it's a guy that you look up to and kind of cheer for going into this game. Hopefully he gets one before he's done. Obviously he's year 16 or 17, age 40. I mean, that's insane. Yeah. His durability and the way he's been able to go about the league.
It's a crazy storyline of him going up against Cincinnati too in this game, the team and the franchise that drafted him. He spent so many positive years there. Willie, from your point of view, you were dominant at LSU. You were the captain. You were a huge recruit. You were a draft pick by the New Orleans Saints. You've had a really good NFL career that is not over. What is Joe Burrow and what he's accomplished both at LSU and now in the NFL, a place that you were very familiar with in both stops, and as a peer of his, you were a friend of his. How do you interact with Burrow? I mean, like, I know you guys are boys, but I mean, from a football standpoint, how do you look at him?
Honestly, he's just one of those. I think he's just one of those next great QBs. His personality, honestly, is very similar to what I've experienced with some of the greats and heard about. The guys gravitate towards him, and it never seems like the moment's too big for him. He doesn't feel pressure. I think he's a guy that is just kind of scraping what he's going to be able to do in the NFL. I mean, in year 2 to bring your team to a Super Bowl. I mean, he's turned that franchise around. And obviously they've made a commitment going to draft well and free agency, but it all starts with him. And I think it's not any surprise to anybody at LSU. I mean, what he was able to do in 2019 was absolutely insane. That's the best college football team in history. And I think Joe is not shocking anybody in Louisiana, but he's going to be one of the next great quarterbacks in the NFL for a long time.
We are very proud of the white 64 jersey that we have from the New Orleans Saints. We fly it very proudly here on the set of the Jordy Culotta Show. I mentioned that you mentioned that you played against Whitworth 2 years ago against the Rams. What's the best jersey swap you've had as a pro?
Obviously, it's my boy Posick. I mean, come on, that's my guy.
Yeah.
I got the Posick jersey hanging up. Got the KJ Malone, Foster Moreau, Lloyd Cushenberry. A guy I played in high school with, Irv Smith, Bama guy, but he's still my boy.
Minnesota.
Torrey Carter this year got me a Torrey. But I normally the guys I play with at LSU.
Woke up pissed off.
That's Torrey's mindset. I love seeing that dude.
Mad right now.
That's cool, bro. It's great to catch up with you. So what's the off-season plans? Any trips to Baton Rouge planned?
I'm hoping, man. I'm hoping to get up for some baseball games when the season starts. It's been right now, I've just been trying to golf as much as possible, and try to get the game going.
I've seen you hit a softball. You hustled everybody at that Red Rock and Blue that year, being the last pick, and you were the MVP of the. It was unbelievable the way that this guy was playing that fucking day.
At that event.
Yeah, it
They told me I
showed.
was second to last pick, only behind T-Bob.
Yeah.
I mean, mind blowing. And
First AB,
You know?
he takes one oppo off the wall at traction with a softball. Looks like he just golf swings this thing. Then he's making plays in the field. What's the handicap? I mean, I'm sure you're a prime hustler on the golf course. I've never played, boys. I'm not even that good. Next thing you know, he's fucking scratched 2 under at the turn. What's your handicap?
I'm terrible, man.
Perfect hustle.
I shot a 120 Saturday with some of my boys. I mean, you put up the clubs for 6-7 months. I wasn't good to begin with, but then you lose any progress you made. Last off season, I started playing last year, and then I put the clubs up for football season, and it's not good right now.
You swing it lefty or righty?
Better.
Lefty or righty? You swing?
Righty.
Okay, because he's ambidextrous. I'm telling you, the guy's a natural athlete.
Did you play baseball in high school?
No, once the curveball was introduced to the game, I had to retire from baseball.
Smashes a fucking softball though.
Yeah,
Best offensive lineman golfer there is for the Saints, or who's the best golfer in the squad?
Best golfer on the squad is Taysom. He's a single digit handicap. He can hit it now, and he told me I'm addicted to golf. That's his all season thing. He loves it. But Taysom's pretty
Lutz
legit.
is not going to
Trevor,
like this conversation.
I'm sure Lutz would agree that I've never seen Taysom play. I've heard about Taysom playing. Lutz is a good golfer. Simeon's a good golfer. So we got some dudes on the team that can play now.
Yeah. All right, Willie, it's great to hear from you, bro. Thank you as always for everything. Miss you down here in Baton Rouge. Next time you're here, come stop by the studio.
For sure, dude. Appreciate it.
Later, man. There's Will Clapp checking in this morning from New Orleans as he is an unrestricted free agent here in this offseason. We'll be anxious to see what happens to him. He bounced back up and down from the practice squad to the 53 all season long, but when they had him on the field, they used the hell out of him. Peyton did. He would kind of use him as that extra offensive lineman and more that athletic offensive lineman. A lot of times he was eligible. Like they would announce 64 is eligible.
Yeah.
Kind of like they use Trent Williams. Where they pull him.
My goodness. Get that guy going downhill. That's unfair.
Good Lord. But Willie, one of the sneakiest, best athletes that I have ever seen. I'm telling you, his Red Rock and Blue performance at that softball game. I mean, T-Bob and I were both like, this fucking guy here, bro. I mean, Clapp. He swings it left-handed, knocking Oppo's softball off the big field at traction. I mean, and he was hitting it like the pros. And then he's making plays in the field. I mean, it was like that's what NFL players look. What I mean? Like this is.
Well,
this
T-Bob will
is
even
NFL.
sneak up on you a little bit. Like not shocking.
He can
he's
sneak
the last
up on
pick,
you. I mean, I remember in T-Bob we did the Jamar Chase challenge in the studio when Jamar Chase got up out of the national championship game from Clemson. That's at the front door, Stewie.
He does.
Anybody?
I don't know.
I don't even know we had a doorbell.
But Jam jumped off of his back. He
Into the
never
flip
touched
up.
he never touched his hands to the ground and jumped up. And T-Bob was like, "I can do that." I was like, "We'll do it right here on video, then, big boy."
And he did
And I mean, this dude snapped up 230 pounds, 240 pounds off the floor in one motion. I was like, "Oh, bro, I got you, man. I'm done. I'm not messing
No
with you."
more
That was pretty impressive, dude. That was really impressive.
Huge neck on Will Clapp.
Huge
One of the
neck.
biggest necks I've ever seen.
Oh.
actually.
Big neck guy.
Yeah, big neck guy. Big neck energy.
Yeah.
Big neck energy. I guess that's a
Right?
big neck.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's
guess.
a big
I don't
old
know.
neck. What do you mean you guess you don't know?
Cool
B&G.
sculpting. Yeah.
I don't think he needs cool sculpting. I mean, he's a football player. It's just a big
B&G.
neck.
B&G.
Big neck guy. All right, good show today.
Wait, speaking of big necks, coming in for Mike Dubb. I mean, Jack Besh got a huge neck.
Yeah.
Huge
Yeah,
neck. Walker
yeah.
Howard, Jack Besh coming in studio live at 3 o'clock.
And Trey Morgan's going to be in the studio around that time, so we'll have 3 of the top athletes on campus, really, in the
the
studio
Sharpie
at some
around.
point. Yeah, at around the 3 o'clock. I know that Mikey is going to sit down with Besh and Howard. But we might have some pretty cool programming coming your way this
Absolutely.
afternoon. We will be here tonight for a watch party. LSU Ole Miss. It'll be an 8 o'clock tip-off from the Maravich Center. We'll be inside of the watch room, taking that in with you. So make sure that you set the alert for tonight for any live programming that happens on JordyCulottaShow.com or the YouTube page or the Facebook page, because we'll be back at it tonight at around 8 p.m. Getting set up for LSU Ole Miss. We appreciate you being here. Thank you for starting your Tuesday with us. And make sure that you like, share, comment. We appreciate you doing that with our posts, as that gets us in front of more eyeballs, and it helps us out tremendously. The Jordy Culotta Show, a part of FM Digital Media. For Jay Stu, for Lloyd, for Katie, for Noah, we'll be back with you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. We'll be back with you tonight, 8 o'clock for the tip-off, LSU Ole Miss.
You there?
Have a great day. I'll be there.
Let's go.
At the game or here?
I'll be here.
Okay.
I'll be here.
Let the Rats have the game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they got a party again, dude.
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Let's go. Perfect time. Get a little nap in.